right, we are now joined by our NASCAR Cup Series pole winner for tomorrow's race, Aric Almirola, driver of the number 10 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford. If you have a question for Aric, please raise your hand. Get a microphone to you. We'll start with Reed.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. This is your second Atlanta pole. The first was with the Gen 6 car on a degraded surface with an open motor package. How different was this winning this pole today?
Very different, you know, from the car standpoint and the way you drive it, but equally as nerve-wracking. I can tell you that. I mean, we go to Daytona and Talladega super speedways, and typically as a driver, it's pretty relaxed. You're not really concerned about making any mistakes. You try and just make sure you concentrate on doing all the things you need to do, get a good launch, hit your shift points, do all those things, right? But here, with the track starting to degrade some over the winter, and now we're in the hot summer months of July in Atlanta, the car's a handful to try and run wide open. It's not easy to run wide open. So a lot more nerve-wracking, much like it was back with the Gen 6 car when you're absolutely flying around here and slipping and sliding on that old surface. So it was an exciting lap. Just really proud of Drew and all the guys on our team and everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing. We've been working really hard to bring more speed to the racetrack, and you know, it was great to get a pole.
Let's go to Lee.
Do you feel with 8 races remaining after this weekend that you just have to find a place to win?
It's crunch time.
Huh?
It's crunch time. Absolutely. Yeah, it's go time. You got, you know, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity, and you've got to maximize every opportunity. You've got to put yourself in position. You've got to make bold moves in the race car. You've got to make bold moves pitch strategy wise. You got to do whatever it takes, because you're not going to get a lot of opportunities. I mean, if you're one of the cars that has a consistent chance to win, you've probably already locked yourself in the playoffs, or you feel pretty good about where you're at in points. But for the guys like myself that's further down in points, I mean, we've got rare opportunities to win races because we just haven't shown up with the consistent speed that we need to put ourselves in position to win. So absolutely, when we show up to a place like this and we know we have fast race cars, I blew a right rear tire leading here last year with 40, 50 laps to go. So yeah, we know coming here, this is an opportunity race for us, and it is absolutely go time. Bring the best race car we can, bring as much speed as we can, qualify as best we can, maximize the entire race, try and put ourselves in position and go capitalize.
Do you look at Loudon as an opportunity race as well, since that's your last win? And can you talk about that win and just how different it is going to Loudon with that new car now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I look at the schedule here going forward. I feel like here is a great place for us. I look at Loudon as a great place for us. We went to Michigan, and I felt like we learned a lot. We had a great tire test there a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. Felt really good about that. Look at Richmond. I've ran really, really good at Richmond throughout my entire career. Our short track program is really good at Stewart-Haas Racing. No doubt we have to continue to work on our mile-and-a-half program in our downforce type racetracks, but our short track package is really good. So when I look at these few races ahead of us, you know, here, Loudon, Michigan, Richmond, and then Daytona, the last race, I think those are 5 opportunities of the next 8 races that I feel like we have a legitimate shot to go and win if we do everything right. So yeah, I to answer your question, I do feel good about, you know, where we're at, the opportunities we have ahead of ourselves, and we can do exactly what we did in 2021. You know, where we were scrounging, you know, back in 22nd, 24th in points, something like where we're at now. And we went to Nashville and qualified on the pole, ran top 5 all day. And then a couple weeks later went to Loudon and shocked everybody and won and launched ourselves into the playoffs. So I certainly feel like this year is a similar year where we've had a lot of things not go our way. I mean, even to start the year, you know, Daytona with such a fast race car and get crashed out, but that always happens. Go to Phoenix running in the top 10, have a right front wheel come off. Leading here in the spring with 40 laps to go, blow a right rear tire. So like I think about the year we've had and so much bad luck, and it's certainly tested our race team, tested the morale of everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing just because we're not going to victory lane. We're not getting the results that we want. But everybody's continuing to work hard and grind, just like in 2021. And hopefully we'll see some of that reward and that payoff, and we'll go to victory lane.
All right, let's go to Claire.
I have a young cub reporter here who would like to ask you a question. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm Alex, and do you think you would be better at the old track or the new paved track?
Oh, well, funny you say that. I love the old track. It was one of my favorite racetracks to race at, but I was average at that racetrack if you look at my results. This racetrack has been better for me, and I guess you could say that I am a pretty decent super speedway type racer. And now that they've repaved this racetrack, it races a lot more like a super speedway. So, yeah, I would say this new track configuration suits my style, the cars we have, the speed we have, the engines from Doug Yates and Roush Yates' engine. So I feel like all that together as a package, this track and the new pavement certainly suits me better for having more opportunity to win. If you ask Kevin Harvick, he'll certainly say the old one.
Any additional questions? Go to Justin.
Justin Schuler, Kicking the Tires. To kind of add on to that, how do you feel that Atlanta has matured and grown now as a super speedway race?
Well, it's certainly aged, and the track is a lot more gray, and you can see some of the aggregate coming up through the asphalt to where it's not perfectly smooth and shiny. It's starting to get some character and some rock starting to show through the shininess of the racetrack. So, you know, I think that at some point in the near future, this racetrack is going to race like the old Daytona, when Daytona was kind of old and worn out, bumpy, had a lot of fall off, and guys were slipping and sliding around. I think that this racetrack will start to trend that direction, to where you'll have to start bringing more downforce in your race car and those things. But I don't think it's quite there yet. I think it still has a lot of grip. Certainly, you know, for a night race when the track temp cools off and all of that. If we raced at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think it'd be a different story. But yeah, I think coming real soon, this racetrack is going to be at a point to where handling is going to play a major factor, and it's going to change the way that the racetrack races. They hope that it will. I mean, talking to Steve Swift and Marcus Smith, they paved this racetrack with basically the old style asphalt. You know, the newer asphalt, they take a lot of the aggregate and they crush it up almost into a powder, and it makes it super smooth, like Michigan, Pocono, those places. Where here, they paved it and they kept a lot more coarse rock in it, like they used to pave it. And so that coarse rock, as the pavement starts to wear down and those rocks get exposed, that's what chews the tires up. I mean, you go to Darlington and look at Darlington, you go drag your feet across the infield, it's pretty coarse. You don't want to fall. You'll skin your knee pretty easy. But you go to, you know, pit road at Michigan and you fall, like, you might get a little road rash. That's it. You know, you're not going to get tore up as bad because there's not as much aggregate sticking out.
Any final questions for Aric?
All right, y'all have a good night. Don't eat all that